I'm Catherine Arndt, the Chief of the VLGA Connect Studio. Welcome to today's episode, brought to you by the VLGA, your councillor support network and the national broadcaster on all things local government.
It's a special VLGA Connect from the RACV Club in Melbourne, where councillors have come from right across the state to participate in the VLGA's highly regarded Councillor Leadership Development Day. It's called FastTrack 2023. And one of the high calibre panels looked at the question of when to consult or when not to consult. And we had with us deliberative engagement practitioners Max Hardy and Kimbra White and the CEO of Merri-bek City Council, Kathy Henderson.
When engagement and consultation is done right, I think there are three key points to be made in relation to this. And the first is the confidence to make decisions. I think good quality engagement allows councillors the confidence to make that decision and move forward. Secondly, it builds trust with the community. We survey people before and after every major engagement process, and the figures are astounding. It goes from something like 40% of people trust their local council to 80% afterwards. It's remarkable how engagement builds trust. And then I think there's just risk, the risk of delays. Good engagement helps to spend time at the beginning. It'll make it easier at the end.
Yeah, so engagement done well, what value does it add? I'd like to tackle it from a slightly different direction, which is what happens when you don't do it well. And I think that councils certainly know that if it's done poorly, there are certain ramifications to that. One is that it probably destroys trust. Two is you probably have to do the process all over again with a damaged reputation. And it just makes life more difficult in general. So I'd say that, so what value it adds, it actually means you can proceed. And if decision makers know that they can be confident about the process that's been undertaken, it means they get less stuck. And I think that what councils want to avoid is that sense of feeling stuck and they just can't move anywhere. Good engagement processes enable you to do that. It does other things as well. I think that not only does it build confidence in council, I think what it also does is that council and councillors can have more confidence that when the community are engaged well, that they can really add an incredible amount of value and be regarded as an asset rather than problematic to navigate through. And I think that that's the key about good engagement. It actually builds trust on both sides.
Well, when engagement and consultation is done right, hopefully it leads to a better outcome, one that better reflects community needs and better balances where there are competing interests. It also, when it's done right, can lead to better ownership by both the community and council, and also a better understanding of what the project or the decision is. So it's a delight to see.
Deliberative engagement. What it means to me is that councils take engagement seriously. They are prepared to share the dilemmas they've got with their local communities and try and come up with solutions together. And in doing that, they are sharing power. And so I think it's saying we take this seriously. I also think it enables councils to make really hard decisions. Those decisions where they're going to be criticised if they go this way, criticised if they go that way. Projects are often stalled for years, and deliberation often allows you to move forward.
Yeah, for me the word deliberate is it's important to unpack and understand, and it comes literally from, means to weigh up. And for deliberative engagement, it means that people go through a process where they can weigh up evidence in order to make a judgment, and not just an individual judgment, but a collective judgment. So in the context of doing deliberative engagement, we invite people to go on a journey where they get to appreciate the complexity, they learn a heck of a lot, they discuss, they have tough conversations, but they have the role of actually giving advice on behalf of a community. And they move from being an individual who comes in with a point of view to being really, really well informed, connected with others, and providing really wise advice that council can act upon and respond to.
So the term deliberative engagement, when it was included in the Local Government Act in 2020, I don't think there was a very clear definition in law of what that meant. For me, deliberation means when people are thinking seriously and deeply about the issues. Now, deliberative democracy might see a citizen jury who deliberate as a group to try and work through the issues as a group. But you can also have very effective deliberative polling where a representative sample or more than a sample receive a whole bunch of information and have opportunity to research an issue before expressing a view through a poll. Either way, the idea of deliberative engagement is that it's deeply thought through by people who care about the outcome and care about the community that they're a part of. So it can have really terrific outcomes.
Gosh, balancing the different interest groups or the views of different interest groups or stakeholders is actually quite difficult. I think that councillors and councils often have those groups coming to them one by one, you must do it our way. My only advice is get them in the room together. Get those different interest groups in the room together so they can understand the different views that are about that subject and can see the difficult decisions that council is probably having to make. So my only advice is get them in the room together.
So in terms of balancing the interests of different stakeholders and transparency, well, transparency is incredibly important to everything that council does in terms of engagement. I think how I'd like to respond to that is that there are different ways that you can work with stakeholders who have different strong points of view. And the classic in terms of deliberative engagement is that often those people aren't there to participate in a panel or a citizens' jury or any other mechanism. They come in as subject matter experts to make a pitch and to provide their point of view. And you can have people providing those pitches, different points of view, enabling other people to work through that and to arrive at a judgment by deliberating. So that's one way to do it. I think another way is something we're seeing more of now in moving into a thing called co-design, which has a lot in common with deliberation. There's a potential to actually have stakeholders in the room to go on the journey, and what we know from deliberative engagement is that participants learn so much and they go on this almost a transformational process to see something quite differently. But stakeholders who come in and pitch and leave, they remain kind of where they are. So a co-design process is the opportunity for stakeholders to be in the room, to be willing to be, or to be challenged almost, to be curious, to check their assumptions so that everyone gets collectively smarter and to see, okay, well, can we actually work toward a solution that we believe is good and meets a whole range of interests? Can we get really clever about that and challenge to rise to the occasion? So that's another way that you can work with stakeholders who have different positions.
Balancing up the competing interests of stakeholders is one of the difficult and deep challenges for elected members and for councillors in our governments. So it's a really big deal for the big topics and the big projects. At the end of the day, all you can do is understand what the different views and issues are for an elected member or a councillor, and to work with your fellow elected members to come up with the best decision possible. What the best decision is might look differently to different people, but if you understand what the views are and if you understand what the issues are and if you come to the process with goodwill, then the outcome should be well aligned to the community.
And that's a wrap for another FastTrack 2023 Councillor Leadership Development Day from the VLGA. It'll be back again bigger and better in 2024 as we head towards the next round of council elections. That's been a special presentation from VLGA Connect.